has got to be one of the most exotic 125 two-strokes I've ever laid hands on. Not only is it a 2024 Fantic XX125 two-stroke, which is not allowed for sale in the US, but it's also completely blinged out to the max thanks to Pasha Afshar. Fantic is an Italian motorcycle manufacturer that only makes bikes available for sale in Europe. Now, we just got done testing the 2024 Fantic XX125, the stock model. If you haven't seen it yet, you can check out that video on our YouTube channel. This is a full-blown mod bike that we're going to be comparing to that stock XX125 Fantic two-stroke. These bikes are built off of the Yamaha YZ125 two-stroke, but Fantic and Yamaha have a deal. They're not allowed to sell Fantics here in the US. Pasha was able to smuggle 2 Fantic 125s here to the US, a stock one and now this one, which was completely built to the hilt. Pasha did all kinds of exotic mods to this, and we're gonna have some fun on it right now. Pasha Afshar is in charge of keeping two-strokes alive around the world, really. The World Two-Stroke Championships, World Vet Championships. This guy puts up big money for the 125 open classes. You have some exotic KTM 150 two-strokes. Ton of fun riding them, racing them. They've been on the cover of Motocross Action. How did you manage to get 2 Fantic 125s to the US?
Well, Josh, I've always been a Fantic fan, and I've been watching a lot of European FIM racing. I always was curious about the Fantic and the way it looks and the shape and everything. And then just by chance, I had an opportunity to get a couple and bring it into the USA, and I knew that it wasn't available here. Yeah. So I had a secret thing going on that I wanted a Fantic, and then when the opportunity showed itself, I said, heck, let's do it. So I called my buddy Nick, who's my partner in the 125 movement, I guess I call it, and I said, Nick, I'll buy a Fantic, you buy a Fantic, we'll ship 2 of them here, secretly, and and here they are, man. And I said, let's leave one bike stock, and we'll go crazy on the other one, and then we'll do the shootout, put 2 of them together, and see if we can build a better bike than a Fantic. Yeah. And here we are, man. The opportunity just showed its face, and I took it.
Pasha here, he's a stuntman, movie actor. His brother makes movies, so his nickname is Hollywood, and so he's really brought us a full storyline, a full movie style opportunity to be able to test 2 Fantics, a stock one like we already tested, and now this full Pasha Racing built one. Heinrich did the engine. Can you tell us a little bit about this bike?
Basically, the engine was built by Chris Heinrich Racing Engines, and everything else here is what we have tested on our KTMs. So what I did is everything I learned on the KTM we did here. And all my sponsors who helped out that we will name later with tested parts, not just because they're my sponsors. I didn't put the parts on just because it's free or it's sponsored. These parts actually have been tested and they work great. And you've raced my bikes, so you know how they go on the KTMs, right?
This is your first go around.
This is my first on a Yamaha and a Fantic since 2009. So I'm really nervous to see how this bike does, because I use technology from the KTM, mentality from the KTM, and hopefully that will transfer over into a Yamaha. And also, it's the first 125, because we build 150s. So I have no idea, man. I guess I'm nervous. Today's the day, man.
Let's see how this thing hits the track.
Yeah, I hope the combination works, man. Yeah, it's never been ridden, so here it is.
Let's do it. The Fantic XX125 is already an exotic machine, and this time Pasha went all out with all of his sponsors and supporters on this full race build. It's got carbon fiber all throughout with carbon fiber fork covers, also carbon fiber on the frame and the swing arm. It's also got Coppersmith forks. It's got an ESR tuned shock. It's got Dubya wheels with Rinaldi tires on them, P3 carbon front brake rotor guard with an oversized front brake. It's also got the Flexx handlebars from Fasst Company with ASV levers on here, Ride Engineering triple clamps, a Ride Engineering link arm with other Ride Engineering doodads all throughout, FMF pipe and silencer, flow foot pegs, hammerhead shift lever, and also Moose Racing rear brake. It's got a Recluse clutch on it, and inside the engine was tuned by Chris Heinrich of Heinrich Racing, Bilotron Lectron carburetor. Also got the Mototassinari V-Force reeds. It's got a Nihilo ignition cover that's custom engraved with Pasha's name on there and the Fantic 125 XXX. It's also got an Apex head and ZRT throttle tube. This thing is pretty exotic and looks great thanks to the Guts Racing seat cover. This is actually a custom seat cover. The Guts made for the Fantic 125 XX, and Throttle Syndicate graphics all throughout, making this thing look chrome and sweet. Last but not least, Pasha told us that this Fantic 125 was assembled by Coyote at TRE.
Alright, so my first impression on the Fantic 125, we're actually riding the modded one here. It's fast as can be. I might need to tune up the suspension a little bit for myself to make it a little more comfortable. I didn't even know this brand existed 2 days ago, but we're out here having fun.
Thanks to Justin Lee for breaking in Pasha's brand new XX125 from Fantic. He did the motos on it today, and then I hopped on it afterwards. Just in comparison with our stock XX125 from Fantic and our stock YZ125. Today was an experiment style day. Pasha is known for building exotic two-strokes, but he usually builds KTM 150s. He runs the Pasha 150 Open Series that races here at Glen Helen. He puts up tons of money out of his own pocket just to try to keep two-stroke racing alive for the pro class, for the 30+ class, and the 50+ class at the World Vets and at the World Two-Stroke Championship, and sometimes in between. Pasha is incredible in just keeping the two-stroke market alive. This bike was an experiment though. He threw all of his parts on from his KTM. He uses FMF pipe and silencer. He uses Throttle Syndicate graphics. He uses the Flexx handlebars. He uses the Coppersmith spring forks, ESR shock, Ride Engineering link, and all kinds of exotic bling parts on here, as well as the carbon fiber frame guards, swing arm guards. Today was an experiment though. We did have to mess with the forks quite a bit. We bumped up the air pressure. These are hybrid spring and air forks. We bumped up the air pressure and went a little bit stiffer on compression. That helped. As far as the power goes though, this thing did rip on the track. Chris Heinrich, he's known for doing some awesome engines on the KTM 150 side. He's messed with those a little bit. This XX125, of course, it's just a Yamaha with some different plastics, but he made some pretty awesome power out of it. A lot more than the stock XX125. So the big question is, how does this bike compare to the stock bike and even to the Yamaha YZ125? We did a full tested video on the XX125 from Fantic in stock trim. Now we're testing this exotic Pasha build. Yes, it was quite a bit stronger on the track, stronger from bottom, mid, and top. The engine work, pipe and silencer worked wonders on this thing. Quite a bit stronger, but still not up to snuff with the KTM 150s. Does not have the displacement of the Fit 150s. So I'm betting you guys right now, in a couple weeks time when the World Two-Stroke Championship comes up, Pasha will probably have a 134 kit in here. I gotta tell you guys, Pasha is great for the off-road and motorcycle industry. He's pumping all kinds of money into it and keeping two-stroke tuners alive. So of course, the coolest part about this bike isn't how fast it is or even how well it handles. Like I said, we do have to work on these forks a little bit to get them a little more comfortable. The coolest part about it is that it is one of 2 Fantic motorcycles to ever ride in the US. These bikes are not available to buy here in the US. Fantic and Yamaha have a platform sharing contract where they're only allowed to sell bikes in Europe. They're not allowed to import them here to the US, but that just goes to show you what a guy like Hollywood could do. He's not scared to risk it for the biscuit, and he spent some big money on these bikes to get them over here and create a cool storyline for the World Two-Stroke Championships coming up in a couple weeks. So these bikes are pretty exotic. It's cool that we have them here, and I gotta give a shout out to Pasha for letting us ride these things. So thank you guys for watching this video. If you're not already subscribed to our YouTube channel, you need to do that and click the bell button to get notified when we release new videos. And there is a chance that you can see this bike in person. Pasha will have it on display at the Two-Stroke National April 20th. And there's a chance the MXA test rider Ezra Lewis will be actually racing this thing in the Pasha 150 Open class. Come check it out at Glen Helen, April 20th. So thanks for sticking all the way through the video. If you haven't seen it already, our stock XX125 Fantic test video is on our channel. Check it out right now.
All right, so my first impressions on the Fantic. All right, so my first impression on the Fantic. I need to get better at the YouTube stuff.
Yeah.